I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet, and I pay my respects to their elders, both past and present. I'm accompanied today to celebrate Sri Lankan New Year with my wife Chloe and one of my children Clementine, and my great friend Julian Hill, who's representing Alan Griffin, the member for Bruce. First of all, let me wish the marvellous Sri Lankan community of Melbourne and Victoria and Australia a new year of happiness and hope and prosperity. I wish to pay tribute today to the marvellous contribution that successive generations of Sri Lankan people have made to Australia. You have a proud history in this country, you have a proud present in this country and a bright future. Of course, not all Australians would be aware, but there were Sri Lankans coming to Australia even before Australia was a country. From the gold rushers looking for gold to diving for pearls on the northwest coast of Australia. But perhaps the greatest contribution has been in more recent decades, where we've seen Australian communities, in particular Victoria, with over half of the Sri Lankan Australian community, benefit from the arrival of Sri Lankan people to join their story with the Australian story. Every day, this community in Victoria benefits from Sri Lankan culture, Sri Lankan wisdom, Sri Lankan values of the importance of family, from the contributions that you make from everything from cuisine right through to cricket. The Sri Lankan community punches above its weight. And I also know, as I stand here looking at so many of you, that the Sri Lankan community deserves a position of honour within the broader Australian story. No Australian is ever unhappy when a Sri Lankan family move next door. You are the most Australian of Australian cultures. You are brilliant neighbours. And what I also wish to say in closing about the Sri Lankan community in Australia is we want your voice added to the Australian political process. More of your young people, and not so young people, standing up in council politics and state and national politics. See, I understand from representing Sri Lankan workers as a proud union rep, to talking to Sri Lankan small businesses, to talking to parents in schools. I understand that Sri Lankan Australians want what all other Australians want. They want good hospitals, where it is your Medicare card, not your credit card, that determines the level of care. You want your young people to be able to afford the dream of their first home. You want good schools because Sri Lankan families prioritise education above all else, and you want good jobs for yourselves and your kids. We are very lucky in Australia that the people of the island of Sri Lanka join the people of the island of Australia. The future for Sri Lankans and Australians is marvellous. It doesn't matter if you came here as a baby in the arms of your parents or as a grandparent meeting your grandchildren. You have made the courageous step to leave your homeland, the villages and the towns where you grew up with other children and the music and the culture, and you are brave people. I believe that the story of Sri Lankan people in Australia is a bright, better, bold and brave story, and I just wish to again inflict upon you my knowledge of Sri Lankan. Suba Nawa Wasarak. Thank you very much.